What's up, guys? Taylor Maris here with All Day Training, back with another installment of our weekly vlog. This week, I want to talk about an issue that I've had with some friends and people that have called me or messaged me on Facebook, or they email me and they'll say, they'll ask me, is this the right program for me? Or hey, what do you think about Camp Gladiator? Or what do you think about this DVD here? Or, P90X? Or, I've heard about this new rapid weight loss diet. I want to know what your take on it is or what you think. Or even better yet, give me a list of supplements. What are the top supplements I need to be taking? And my answer to all of them, I love questions, by the way. Send me questions. I love them. I love answering them and helping people. I'll get back to you as fast as I can. Hopefully be patient with me. But my answer to questions like that is, are you doing the fundamentals right? Do you know what the fundamentals are? If you're not doing the fundamentals consistently, you have no business trying to worry about the details. Yes, every program has details. Yes, the devil is in the details, especially as you get more advanced, the devil is in the details. But when you're a beginner, the devil's not really in the details. The devil is in doing the fundamentals effectively on a daily basis and consistently doing that. The people that do that are the people that get results. They're not necessarily always the people that do the fanciest stuff. They're not. So get over that, that hype of information overload, and let's get back to the basics for a second. So I'm going to give you just a few fundamental things. If you follow them and you're a newbie or an intermediate, you follow them consistently, ask me questions along the way, you will get results. And in most cases, you'll get results for the better part of the first year you train without having to get a coach or a trainer or even get a gym membership in some cases. You just have to be a little creative, and you have to be non-lazy. You have to be willing to do your homework, research a few movements here and there. So I'm going to give you the fundamentals, okay? And then I'm going to set you loose. So after you've established your goal, which we know is the most important thing, you establish your goal, and let's just say, for argument's sake, right now, it's what 90% of people say when they get in the gym, it's just to be more fit, to get stronger, to put on lean muscle mass, to burn body fat, to get a healthier blood profile, to move better, all right? Let's say that that's the primary goal of yourself. You've got it easiest of anyone. You don't need equipment. You don't even need a gym membership. Follow these rules. Number one, establish your days, your times, and the focus. What that means is set a time and a day in your calendar that you are not going to put anything there unless it's an emergency, and you are going to reserve that time to get fitter, to be a better version of yourself. If you don't, and all my clients that are consistent do this, even my busy ones that have hectic schedules, even I do, and I have a very hectic schedule at times. My wife, classic example. But if you don't set it in your schedule and set it ahead of time, something will sneak in there. We're all busy. You're not the only busy person. Put it in your calendar on that day, on that time, and depending on how busy it is, if you have 20 minutes, devote 20 minutes. If you have 45, go 45. Put it in your calendar and establish the focus. What does the focus mean? Well, if you're just trying to get fitter, you want to be broad. You want to say, I'm going to focus on strength one day. I'm going to do strength movements, right? The next day, I may do some high-intensity interval cardio for 15, 20 minutes because I have a little less time. So the focus is cardiorespiratory fitness, fat loss, and just general fitness. Maybe the next day after that, you do a little more strength work. Steady state cardio after that. Steady state meaning you're going to go on a bike ride for 30 or 40 minutes with your family, or take a stroller on a jog with your kids. So that's what you do first. Set it there. Things are going to come up, but focus on really, what are you going to do that day? What's the focal point of that day? And establish the days and times ahead of time. Okay? Establish the movements, loads, and total work. So movements. Let's not overcomplicate things. Let's stick with the basics. Too many people think that it's all about these complicated, fancy movements. Too many trainers want to show you fancy movements, and I got news for you. The best in the world, they stuck to the fundamentals in many cases for years and years before they really dialed in the complicated variations of those movements. All right, so what do I mean by basics? Air squats, different squat variations, split squats. How about step-ups, lunges, bridge ups? If you don't know what those are, look them up. Find out how to move in those movements. How about a push-up? Most of us know how to do a push-up or push-up variation. Dips on the side of a bench or a chair. Learn how to take a towel, put it around a post or something, and do body rows for pulling exercises, pulling strength. If you don't know how to do a chin-up, look up online how to do a variation of a chin-up or a pull-up with your feet down so that you can do it assisted until you get strong enough you can do more. These are all basic, fundamental, multi-joint movements. Don't do fancy stuff. Learn the basics and master the basics. And that will give you a huge leg up on the people that try and jump ahead and they try and run before they can crawl or walk. All right, do plank variations. Everyone knows what a plank is. You don't need to do tons of fancy core work. Learn how to do basic fundamental movements. And by the way, if you have any issues, any musculoskeletal problems, injuries, check with your doctor first. That's my disclaimer. Any medical problems, before you try any of this, check with your doctor and clear. But assuming you don't have those issues or you're cleared from a doctor, pick fundamentals and learn how to perform those movements perfectly. Dial them in. Be a technician. Basics, y'all. Loads. Let's say for today, let's not worry about loads. Let's just say it's body weight. Your load, the weight you're moving, is going to be your body weight. All right? Because you don't have a gym membership. Total work, reps and sets. What is a set? It's a predetermined number of repetitions you did. The reps are how many times you perform the movement in the set. So that means I can do 10 push-ups. So one set of 10 push-ups. So I did 10 reps. That's one set. All right? So you're going to establish your work you're going to perform in each workout. If it's a strength workout and I gave you 4 or 5 movements you did right there, right? All you can do is 10 push-ups before technique breaks down. Well, maybe this week on Monday you're only going to do 2 sets of 8 push-ups. You're going to stop before technique breaks down, right? You can do 15 perfect squats before the knees start diving in or you start hunching over. Then you're only going to do 2 sets of 12 air squats, right? Basically, you're establishing your work ahead of time, right then and there. You're going to say, this is all I'm going to perform because I can perform it perfectly in this rep range and for this many sets. Any more than that, and my technique breaks down. That's how you focus on the total work you're going to start with. It's not complicated. If you're like, well, I don't know where to start with on work. Well, find out, experiment. See how long you can hold a plank before your hips start sagging. And if it's at 30 seconds, maybe you do 2 sets of 20 seconds to start out. Do your homework. Try. After you've done that, here's the last thing. This is the most important thing if you want to progress and get better. Very basic. All trainers have used this. It's called linear progression. You focus on linear progression. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Linear progression just means every week you're going to manipulate some variable and make it a little bit harder. So notice I said manipulate the load, which we're not going to do. It's just body weight for now. Reps, sets, work to rest intervals on your cardio. After you've established your cardiovascular movements you're going to do, right? High velocity movements. So reps and sets, that means if week 1 you did 2 sets of 8 push-ups, the next time you do that workout, which might be on Friday, the next time you do the workout that has push-ups, maybe you do 2 sets of 8 again, or maybe you do 2 sets of 9, or 2 sets of 10, or maybe a set of 10 and then 9. So you technically did more work because you did more reps. It's that simple. Or if you've really built up some stamina, try 3 sets of 8. So I increased my sets by 1. That's how you manipulate reps and sets. Or just say if you did 30 total push-ups week 1, next week your goal is to do 40 total push-ups. That's linear progression. That's how you manipulate your reps and sets. If you're doing cardio, work to rest intervals. That means if week 1 you did 20 seconds of a station and you got out of breath and you barely made it, well, next week the goal is to do 25 seconds of work or 30 seconds of work. If you gave yourself a full 45 seconds of rest in between your circuit, well, then the following week, give yourself 30 to 35 seconds. These are basic variables you change without having to even change the movements themselves. That if you just manipulate those variables week to week, week after week, little by little, you don't have to make huge changes. You will progress for a long period of time. Those are the main things that you can focus on as a beginner and intermediate. And if you follow those, there are some people that see results for the better part of a year before they ever have to worry about doing anything a little more complicated. I can tell you now that as far as movements goes, my partners and I, my trainers, my advanced clients, I still do push-up variations. I still do pull-up variations. I still do squat variations, single leg squat, like lunges. We're more advanced and we still do some of the fundamentals. So if you're a novice or intermediate, why are you trying to complicate things and do these fancy movements? Just focus on consistently doing the fundamentals. And here's the most important thing, you're eating. And people say all the time, I don't know what to eat. Well, that's a complicated subject. I suggest you get with a nutritionist or a trainer. But if you don't, or you can't afford one, start here. Eat 3 to 5 meals spread out throughout the day. A lot of people say, well, I'm not hungry. Well, you got to train yourself to eat more consistently. If you've been not eating more than once a day, you've trained your body to only crave food once a day. That's why you're not craving it. You have to train your body to get into the habit of eating consistently throughout the day. Give it the nutrients it needs to change and get better. So 3 to 5 very portion meals. What does portion mean? Your macronutrients of protein, carbohydrate, and fat, which you need to figure out, maybe get with a coach or trainer, or figure out depending on your age, your gender, your body type, your goals, what your macros are going to be. But as far as protein goes, it needs to, no matter who you are, stay very high in lean protein. I'd say that for everybody. Very high in lean protein, no matter what your goals are. For females, I say a good starting point is about 0.7 grams per pound of body weight per day. For males, definitely shoot for a gram per pound. Doesn't matter, guys, if your goal is to lose body fat or gain muscle. You need a lot of protein. So that's a good starting point unless you have some kind of kidney dysfunction. Again, if you have health issues, consult your doctor. But that's a good starting point, a gram per pound per day for the guys, spread out evenly or close to that. The higher your protein intake, the better. And the body doesn't like to store protein as fat, so stop worrying about you're going to get bulky from protein. Too much fat, too much carbohydrate, too much nasty, highly processed carbohydrates are what are more likely to make you fat than protein. So focus on high protein intake. Fats, make your fats healthy. I'm about to explain what that is here in a second. Focus on more complex carbohydrates. I'm going to explain what that is right now, actually. That's the main things to focus on in eating. If you need to focus, if you need more help with the calorie intake or energy intake, you need to get with a coach or a trainer probably if you're not sure. But if you start with just eating those basics, that's going to take you a long way. And too many people don't do that, and they're focused on their fat burner. If you ain't doing that, don't worry about your fat burner. Don't worry about the new advanced supplement. If you're not doing those things, the supplement's not going to do you any good. So I'm going to show you real quick on my board what I show my clients real quick, and then I'm going to let you go. All my clients see this every time they walk in the gym. If you don't know what to buy at the store, I'm going to get you the majority of the way there right now. I'm going to blow your mind. Ready? There's your protein list. Can you see it? This is the majority of the proteins. Obviously, there's more, but unless you're lactose intolerant, maybe don't go for the milk. There's not a lot of protein in coconut and almond milk, but that's a good replacement. Greek yogurt, eggs and egg whites. Try not to go for heavily processed turkey and things like that, but go for lean meats if you're going to eat meat. Meat is not bad. Meat is your friend. Meat is your friend. So just make sure you eat leaner meats. Those are your variety. Invest in a protein powder. Fats. This is what I mean by healthy fats, guys. Okay? Mixed nuts, almonds, cashews, pecans, pistachios, walnuts, water chestnuts. I mean, there are tons of variety you can get from that. I say peanut, almond, or cashew butter. Almond is my personal favorite. Go easy on the peanut butter, super high in calories. Avocados, we know that. Fish oil, we know that. Olive oil, flaxseed oil, these are all good. High in omega-3s. Try and stay away from omega-6s. There's a lot of omega-6s out there, and that's what's really just destroying America is the amount of omega-6s that we get in. Shoot for omega-3 fats. Most of what you saw there was omega-3s. And then, of course, carbohydrates, the most important aspect. The fruits, the vegetables, the steel-cut oats, rice, quinoa, rolled oats, couscous. If you do potatoes, I like sweet potato, red potatoes, yams, vegetables, anything with just deep dark colors, leafy greens, lentils. I like black beans, lima beans, edamame. I prefer to stay away from bread. You can get most of your carbohydrates from a lot of this other stuff. Stay away from heavily processed cereals. Don't eat crap. It's common sense. So that list is give you tons of what you need to go buy at the store, get creative, and buy a few of those things. Everything I just told you right now, if you do all that and you do it consistently, that will get you 80% of the way of being your fittest version of yourself. Just by following those steps, guys. It's not that complicated. Consistently put in the work, follow some basic fundamentals, and that'll get you the majority of the way there. If you have other questions, please find me on Facebook, message me, I'll get back to it as soon as I can, or email me. And please, if you like our videos, tell everybody, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us out. So please, show us some love and hit the subscribe button next time you see a video. Sorry for the long video, but I hope you got a lot out of this one. Anyway, until next week.